Today's cocktail is the Blue Meanie. The Blue Meanie is a tequila-based cocktail consisting of 3/4 ounce tequila, 1/2 ounce blue curacao, and 2 ounces of sweet and sour mix. Shake ingredients with crushed ice and strain into a salted cocktail glass and garnish with a lime wheel. The Blue Meanie is, of course, a slight variation of the margarita and has a similar flavor mixture with the sweet and sour, the orange of the blue curacao, and the tequila itself. And with the salted rim, that just really offsets the tequila nicely. As always, we urge you to drink responsibly, and if you have the opportunity, by all means, please try the Blue Meanie. Welcome back to Cocktails and Crankshafts. It's your guy, the fat man, the Africanized honeybee, the killer bee, the car guy, blog 05 guy. With me as always, most of the time, some of the time, occasionally when she feels like it, my guest host, Mayflowers.
Hey, friend.
Oh, I'm a friend now.
I know, right? Changing it up.
Good. I think I've been upgraded.
Hey!
Is that an upgrade? I don't know.
Look at God.
Today we're going to go back to more than 15 years.
Ooh, we going
2005,
way back.
Before I left to move to the Midwest.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, once upon a time, some young men in Europe had some automobiles and they wanted to prove the worth of these automobiles. And somebody got the bright idea, hey, let's drive to that village on the other side of the mountain, and the first one that gets there is the winner.
Boom. Famous
Boom.
last words.
And that eventually grew into the sport that we know as rally today. And it's really huge in Europe and pretty big in Asia and nearly dead in the United States, sadly. But
Because we love to kill a thing. But okay.
We did it a little bit different than they used to do it in Europe. And the European round, the North American events that used to be part of the World Rally Championship went away. And I don't know the whole story. It was what it was. SCCA had pro rally class. They had your two-wheel drive and your four-wheel drive and your Group 5. I forget all the classifications. I used to actually follow that in the magazines. And then one day, I think it just went bankrupt and just ceased to exist. So my friends at NASA, the National Auto Sport Association, started a rally class. And they had some events, and in some cases, I think they literally just took over former SCCA rallies with smaller stakes now. But they did this event in upstate South Carolina, and it wasn't far from where I was living at the time. So we're talking about January 22nd, 2005, just outside of Cheraw. I probably didn't look up how to pronounce that. South Carolina. Short version, just a little bit south of Rockingham, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And they call it the Sandhills Sandblast for a reason. You've been to the Sandhills portion of North Carolina. You know what that looks like.
Yep.
Again, they call it Sandhills for a reason.
For a reason.
So the thing about the Sandblast rally that is unique is that it's done on fire roads in a state park, and the roads are entirely sand. The entire rally is transversed on sand, except for a couple of the transit stages that are on paved roads. And it was a nightmare for me to get there. I mean, not in the sense that it was hard to get to, because it's right off US 1, so getting there wasn't hard. But I get to the town, and I'm at the park farm where they store the cars before they start the event. So we're in the parking lot of the hotel, and all the cars are out there, and the drivers are there, and the co-drivers are there, and they're getting ready to load up the cars and go, and then they just drive off because the first stage is a transit stage because they got to drive to the woods. So they leave, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I realize, oh wait, I can't watch them. If they've already left, I can't get to where they are and spectate
Right. You can't see
since
because
they
they're gone
already
already.
left. So I've got to go to where I think they're going to be. It's like a golf. I don't assume you've ever been to a PGA golf tournament.
Nope.
So years ago, I went to watch the BMW Open in 2013, 7, 8, 9. I forget what year. Chicago. The first year they had the big BMW FedEx Championship thing in Chicago. Cog Hill, I think it was. So me and my boy are there. You know, that short guy I knew from college who was living in Chicago at the time. We go to the tournament. We want to follow Tiger Woods on the last day, you know, the back nine of the tournament. So here's the problem with that. Tiger Woods had such a big gallery in those days that you couldn't, if you wanted to see him, you couldn't follow him. You had to get in front of him and wait for him to come
and watch
to you
him come.
because
Okay.
the crowd would be behind. So
Right. There's too big of an entourage.
right. So we were skipping every other hole to get ahead of Tiger so that we could be at the ropes when he was coming by and like see him drive and see him putt and such, which was actually very impressive because he was on a tear on that back nine. He lit that damn course up and we got to see some of it. Not all of it, but some of it. For instance, his winning putt on the 18th hole, I could see the top of his head from where I was, leaning up against a tree on my tippy toes trying to see over the crowd. And then I could hear the roar of the crowd as the ball went in the cup. But I never saw him strike the ball because I couldn't see the ground from where I was. So the Sandhills rally was very much the same way. I had to kind of hop and skip around to pick spots where I could get there and spectate ahead of the cars getting there. And I don't know if you've ever been to a rally, but they go through the woods one at a time at like 30-second intervals.
So they're like timed starts.
Yes. And your total aggregate time is how they determine who wins the event. The lowest total aggregate time for each section.
Got it.
So you stand out there in the woods, and it's January in the South, so it's not frigid, but it's cold enough, you know. You're wearing a light jacket and some gloves, and you're standing there for an hour, so you get cold. But
right, cold enough to not want to be standing outside all day.
Right. So you see the I forget what they call it, the scout, the reconnaissance car come through to make sure the course is clear. Okay, he comes through, and then a couple minutes later, here comes the first car. Vroom, he goes by, and then the next one. Vroom, he goes by, and so on and so forth until you see the sweeper car, which is the last car that lets you know that all the racers have been through. So the sweeper vehicle comes through and you're like, okay, that was them. And then you got to walk back to your car and drive to the next spectator location and then park your car and walk up into the woods to wherever it is they allow you to watch from and repeat this process again.
It's like watching a marathon.
Yes, except you're in the woods.
Yeah.
Or in this case, you're in the woods. In some cases, you're on a mountain, you're on a logging road. Snowdrift is up north, although I think those are technically still logging roads because that's like on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So there was some enjoyment to it in that I was watching a rally, but for my purposes, it would have been easier and more fun to just buy a European rally DVD from Duke Video and just sit at home and watch it. Because I would get in-car footage, I would get helicopter coverage, I would get stable camera coverage in the forest. I would see pretty much every stage, and all the fastest cars and the famous people. And because you're inside the car, you can hear the co-driver talking, and he's, you know, slippy left, right, 100 yards, you know, brake hard. That's not what they say, but there's a code, there's a language they speak.
Right.
And it's really fun if they're like non-English speakers. Like say both people in the car are French or Finnish or something. And so now they're speaking a different language. And it's just this babble that comes out the mouth. And the one guy's just talking and reading the notes in his book. And the other guy's just driving. And then when somebody messes up, you hear a cuss word or a bleep. And the car's upside down.
Done and done.
Or it's in the water. Or it's in the trees. or it rolls off the side of the mountain, whatever. But I'm glad I went because it was an experience. It's like going to Pikes Peak. I'm glad I went to Pikes Peak so I can say I went and saw the Pikes Peak hill climb. Right. I hate that I waited until the damn road was paved, but that's a different issue altogether.
It's just one of those things. You go, you see it, and then you say you've been there, but you don't necessarily need to go again.
Right. I mean, like the next time I go to San Diego or LA or wherever, I'm going to dip my toe in the Pacific Ocean so that I can say I've been in the Pacific Ocean. And then I don't ever have to go back to the West Coast again, ever.
I mean, it's overrated.
I mean, Seattle's nice, but Seattle's not really the coast.
I mean, I like Seattle.
I like Seattle, but
I like
Seattle
San Diego. Right, I like San Diego.
I like when I saw San Diego, but I only saw just a little tiny bit of San Diego. The airport,
LA can kick rocks.
And I went to some Argentinian steakhouse on the side of a mountain. LA, I'm not in any rush to go to LA. I figure whenever I go to Hawaii, I'll probably stop and do like 2-3 nights in LA before I fly to Hawaii.
Yeah.
But yeah, you won't see me going on any Hollywood tours or Nan's Chinese Theater or any of that nonsense.
I was very disappointed at the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Very.
I'm not even gonna bother.
But I was more impressed at like Magic Johnson Starbucks. I was like, ooh, Magic Johnson Starbucks.
I want to see the terminal at LAX. That's it.
Right. Like
what is were they high?
They were clearly they were high.
It's like, did you not see what airports look like on the East Coast?
No.
Yeah, it's more form than function, or more function. Terminals, wings.
Mess is what LAX is, but anyway, we can stop the West Coast slander.
That was the Sandblast rally. It was a good time was had by all, as they say.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Thank you for watching Cocktails and Crankshafts. If you enjoy my content, please like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the bell icon, and we'll see you soon with new content.